Welcome to the Falls Homefront, where Wichita Falls leads in North Texas real estate, business, and life. I'm Tim Lockhart, retired Air Force officer, realtor, and your local real estate and business strategist. Every week, I'm shining a spotlight on people, places, and opportunities that make our community thrive. You'll hear real estate tips, market insights, and inspiring conversations with local leaders, entrepreneurs, and fellow military veterans. Whether you're a homeowner, investor, military family, or brand new to the area, you'll get the expert advice, community connections, and local insights you won't find anywhere else. Let's get started. Welcome to the Falls Homefront. I'm Tim Lockhart, and I appreciate you tuning in. We've got a great episode today full of practical tips and local insights that you don't want to miss. I'm so excited to welcome our guest, Austin Cobb.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you, Austin. Austin serves as a City Councilor At-Large on the Wichita Falls City Council, bringing over 15 years of experience in the oil and gas, and currently working with a startup focused on reservoir analytics for both domestic and international markets. A native of Wichita Falls, he holds a Bachelor of Business Administration from Midwestern State University. Actively involved in his community, he is a member of the Mavericks of Wichita Falls, serves on the Heritage Society Board, and is a former chair of the Lake Wichita Revitalization Committee. Welcome to the podcast, Austin.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here. I appreciate you doing this, and anytime there's a chance to speak about the city, I'm happy to discuss it. Good things are happening.
Yeah, that's great. There are a lot of great things happening in our community, from the commercial construction we have going on to some of the lifestyle initiatives that we have. What are some of the biggest challenges and opportunities that Wichita Falls faces today?
Yeah, I think economic development is the top of our list. I think Wichita Falls for the last several generations has been pretty stagnant population at right around 100,000, plus or minus 500 every year, it seems. And that's been the focus of why I wanted to run and the focus of this current council. We've made some really good inroads, and so I'm excited to talk about some of these things. You mentioned it, there's been a ton of commercial construction in the last 18 months. We're adding grocery stores, we're adding Westlake Pipe's doing a huge expansion, one of the biggest expansions in Wichita Falls. But it's not stopping. We're fast forward thinking. We're looking in the future. I think the mall opportunity is going to be an awesome experience. I think it's going to really change the heart of the city. That's the central part of our city. It's where everyone hangs out, as everyone want to do. And from that to everything. But yeah, Wichita Falls is one of the only cities in the state that hasn't grown, and Texas has been the fastest growing state in the last few years, and we had to ask ourselves why. And part of it was we weren't doing anything to do it. People aren't going to choose Wichita Falls to choose Wichita Falls. We had to go out and sell ourselves and say, why does it make sense for you? Why do we love Wichita Falls? This is a place you can call home. And so we've done that, and we've made tons of inroads in that. This just wasn't happening in the past, to be honest with you, and we've changed. And attracting new businesses here is crucial because it's what lowers taxes. We're one of the only cities in the state of Texas where tax burden falls on residents and not commercial industry. And that's the way it is around every city in the state of Texas, and that's why someone has lower tax rates than us. But we can drop taxes if we can grow commercially in industry and good paying jobs and all the things that go with it. I think that's one of the biggest things that I think that would drive our city forward. And I've always brought up, if 10% growth is 10,000 people. I think we can do that, and I think that should be the goal. We're not going to do it in 1 year, but we can do it over the next 5 to 7 years. And I think by growing 10,000 people, I think Wichita Falls continues to have the character it has and what makes it great. So we can walk and chew gum at the same time, as the mayor always says. And that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, many people listening may not have attended a city council meeting or know much about it. What's it like being on the city council?
It's a lot of fun. It really is, to be able to give back to the community. I will say the meetings are open to the public the first and third Tuesdays of every month at 8:30 at the Impact. City Hall is undergoing its renovation, but next year we'll be back over there, same time, every other Tuesday basically. But get involved. I always say to people, if you can't make a city council meeting, something you want to talk about, call me. I'll meet with you. I'll grab a coffee with you, whether you voted for me or not. I have to represent everybody, and I'll talk to anybody. We may never agree, but that's what makes our country great. But it's exciting. I think part of it, what makes it fun, is that there's so many good things coming, and I'm happy to play a small part in that. Lots of people are working on all these projects, and at the end of the day, we're trying to keep everybody on track and make this city great. But being up there on the dais, it's weird sometimes. You look out and you're like, oh, I'm here. But no, it's a lot of fun. I ran because I wanted Wichita Falls to move forward. That was it. I left. I was gone for 12 years. I came back here to raise my family. I didn't have to do that. We could have stayed where we were, but this is home, and I wanted to be a part of moving our city forward. And so I'm very excited to see where we go over the next few years.
Oh, that's great to hear that. How does the city council balance the immediate needs with the long-term goals of the city?
Yeah, you got to wear multiple hats, honestly. I think you've probably heard the phrase, kick the can down the road. I think we did a very good job of that over the last 20 years with past city administrations, whether it was roads or water infrastructure or the Lake Ringgold or anything, public safety, all of it. We kick so many cans down the road, but you've got to look at today too. Like a pothole may need to get fixed today, but a year from now, that road needs to be replaced. And so we've had to have that forward-thinking idea of what are we going to look like and where are we going in the next 10 years. Let's get a plan together and let's put it in action. I think you see that with the Parks Master Plan that's been unveiled a few months ago. We're working on a downtown. We're updating the master plan for downtown. So downtown's come a long way, but my comment, like I said, no one celebrates a C. Got a little bit of wheels on its own. I think downtown, we did a C job. There's nothing wrong with that, but how do we get to an A, right? Let's look at this plan, figure out what worked, what didn't, and then let's attack what didn't work. I'm not talking about abandoning Art Walk. I think that's great, but tons of buildings downtown that need work. We're doing a long-term water infrastructure plan too that's going to be, I think, presented sometime this year as well, because we've got one of our water plants was built in the 60s and hadn't had basically anything done to it. We're going to need that at some point in our very near future, and those have enormous costs, so you can't just roll over into 26 and say, oh, we need a $50 million water plant. It doesn't work that way. So you've got to plan for the future. You've got to plan for the future, but you also got to think about today, because you got to make sure the trash gets picked up on. For me, it's Mondays or Tuesdays and Fridays. You've got to do it all. How do you balance it? Get organized is what I can say. But no, that's just part of the job, and it's having that one central focus of moving forward. And some days it's one step at a time, and others you got to take several steps. So it's exciting.
What role can residents play in shaping the priorities of the city? Yeah,
get involved. Call me. Call any of the councilmen and women, or the mayor. Every single person on that dais will return your phone call or send you a text or send you an email. I'll meet with anybody for lunch, coffee, a beer if that's your preference. I don't care. There's some problem. There's no way we can see it all. Any issues in town, I would say just call us, get involved, show up to meetings, find something you love. There's so many civic organizations. You don't have to be in public service. There's so many civic organizations. There's Rotary does great things. Big Brothers Big Sisters does great things. There's Zavala. There's Loco for Cinco. Find a passion, something you actually care about, and I promise you there's an organization that have like mindset or trying to do the same thing you want to do, is make our city better. And so I would just encouraging people to get involved. I think any of these organizations will welcome you with open arms. And so I think if they want to get involved, then get involved and be an active participant. Don't just be negative all the time. If there's something you think's not working, let me hear your idea, and let's figure out a way to make it better. I think we all have the same goal. Maybe we're not going to get the same. Maybe our paths are a little different, but I think the end goal is the same. And so I would just encourage people that if they want to get involved, to get involved.
Oh, that's great. That's good encouragement. You've been involved with the Lake Wichita Revitalization project for several years. Can you update us on what's going on with that?
Sure. It's my favorite question. And I always tell people, someone will make a negative comment about my lake, and I run to defend it faster than I defend myself, because I can talk for myself, but that lake can't. And no, it's a huge passion project for me. I always tell people I was adamant that I was going to be a liaison to that board. I was like, that's the only board. I'm on several boards, but I was like, I have to have that one. And Mike, Councilman Badalino, was on that board. I said, I'll power lift you for it. And people that know Councilman Badalino know he lifts a lot and does Quadzilla and all kinds of athletic stuff. But I'd powerlifting for it. But no, it's a huge passion project of mine, and I love it. And Steve Garner's been a good friend of mine. He's probably the only other one that's more excited about that lake than I am. But several really good developments. We've got some landowners that border the lake, and Holiday Creek runs through their property. They've taken it upon themselves at no cost to the city, and they rehabilitated Holiday Creek. That's exciting. It's going to help keep the water level up in the lake and keep more water in it. Now, it's not deep, right? So we're trying to dredge it. And so we officially filed for a program through the U.S. Corps of Engineers at November 17th of 23. And we've been waiting on Congress to actually pass a budget, and they finally did this year. So now this program will get funded. So we actually had a meeting yesterday, and so we got an update from the Corps of Engineers. So they let the city know that, hey, this is moving forward now. We have your letter of intent from way back in 23. Do you still want to participate? Of course we did. And they've assured us that we're going to be at the top of the list. And so what they're doing now is going through all the requests for this program through the Corps of Engineers. And it's all over the country, right? Anywhere there's a Corps of Engineer lake or water creek, waterway, they can apply for this certain type of grant. And so now we're just waiting for them to say, hey, the government's interested in our project. And all indications are they will be. So we should hear that hopefully by the end of this year, early next year, and then by spring, summer of next year, that we'll start the feasibility study that kind of lays out the plan and how we're going to dredge it. But we're going to dredge the lake. It's probably going to take at least 2 phases to get it completely dredged, and we may have to apply for this grant multiple times. But it's a 75-25 split. So the government's going to pay for 75% of it, and the city will have to get, whether it's 4B, donations, or foundations, we'll have to come up with 25%. So you're looking at probably a $10 to $12 million investment from the Corps of Engineers. So once that gets started, we'll hopefully be moving dirt by the end of next year. And so we're very excited that we'll actually move dirt for the first time. On top of that, we've got the Veterans Plaza that we're expanding, and so we did a master plan. We're going to add an amphitheater, a third node. We've partnered with the Thomas Fowler VFWs. They're using that Veterans Plaza for all their memorials and celebrations. They raise the flag for us on holidays. We really appreciate them doing those types of things for us. And then, we're going to add a third node, and it's going to pay homage to Thomas Fowler. So if people don't know who Thomas Fowler is, get online. Everything about him is online, but he was born and raised in Wichita Falls, and he's a Medal of Honor recipient, the only one from Wichita Falls. And he was killed in action in World War II. And I encourage you to go learn his story, read his story. But our third node is going to be paying homage to Thomas Fowler. He's a hero, and he's from Wichita Falls, and I think his story needs to be told. And the Lake Board has agreed, the Thomas Fowler Foundation also. And so we are really taking a step to honor him and tell his story, because everyone knows there's an elementary called Fowler in Wichita Falls, but no one really knows who Thomas Fowler is, or even maybe his first name, or why it's named Fowler. But I encourage anyone to read. It's a remarkable story, and we want to pay respects to him and what he did for our country, and being a resident of Wichita Falls and really telling his story. So, the Veterans Plaza it's come a long way since I first got on the board, but we're not stopping. We want to expand it and continue. We really want it to be the central focus point of veterans in our community, and we're working really hard to do that, and we've come a long way, and I couldn't be more excited about it.
That's great. This effort's been going on for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Many people might not know the big picture vision for Lake Wichita. Could you give us kind of a high level, what's the big vision for what we want to do?
A recreational water lake in Wichita Falls. That is our end goal, right? It's never going to be drinking water. If it's completely dredged and full and we use it for drinking water, we've got enough water for 21 days. It cannot be a drinking source, but it can be a recreational quality of life. You've got the hike and bike trail there that will be hopefully finished by next year, but hopefully by the end of my first term. And then that circle trail will be completed. And so it's not deep enough to even get a boat out. We want to get people to put a boat out. When we dredge it, the water quality will actually improve, because it's full of sediment and fish can't survive. There's not enough oxygen. So then the Texas Parks and Wildlife will stock it again with fish. So you can go out and fish, and the canoe, and there's many people don't know that over on that southwest side, there are wetlands, and they're federally protected wetlands, and so you can get over there by a canoe right now, but it's it's like I said, it's purely recreational. But I'd love to see restaurants out there at some point. And like I said, I was born and raised here, but I was gone for 12 or so years. And every city I lived in had a central water feature that was purely recreational. I lived in Bernie. We had Cibolo Creek running right through the middle of town, walk, fishing, people canoeing. In Cypress, we had a nature preserve with the water. And when I lived in Oklahoma, we had Lake Hefner and the restaurants and boats and sailing clubs and all of it. It's purely recreational. I think our citizens deserve it. I think we neglected that lake for way too long. And so the Lake Board's trying to do something about it. And our meetings are also open to the public, and they're the third Tuesday of every month at the Travel Center. Shameless plug for my lake, but they're open to the public. So if that's something you're passionate about, we'd love to have you there too. We'd love to hear your ideas. There was so much stagnant in that lake for so long, and we were just in the waiting game. And so now we're finally starting to move, and so the progress is finally starting to be made. But yeah, this is such a huge passion project for me, and I'll be involved in this lake until I'm 80 if I make it that long, and as long as they don't kick me out the door, because I think it can be a huge asset to everybody in our community, military personnel, students, just families. And yeah, we're really looking forward to the day that it comes back. I'll probably be old, but I'm being realistic, but I'm excited. And it can be that recreational lake in Wichita Falls.
Yeah, it's great to hear that there's some forward momentum happening now. So that's
absolutely exciting.
What lessons have you learned from serving on the city council that others could apply to leadership roles?
Patience. Learn patience. No, I think my professional career, I've been in oil and gas, and so it's 24/7, 365, and if there's something wrong, you just do it. But I've learned that the speed of government is a real thing. It's a real thing, and I want things to move faster sometimes than we're legally allowed to, and that's fine. That's what those laws and stuff are there for. But it's learn patience. You got to be humble. You really do. Especially representing the entire city. The needs of our city are so diverse, and you've got to just take it one day at a time and have a little bit of thick skin. But yeah, patience is probably at the top of my list, and it goes for citizens too. Just because I tell people, like, hey, if you see a problem, my first question is, have you told your council member or me or the mayor? Because in the city, you have 3 direct representatives. That's how our charter was set up. So if anyone wants to know the answer to that question, so you have a district councilman or woman, a mayor, and then the councilor at large. It's the mayor and councilman at large or citywide, and then your district representative. So you have 3 direct representatives at all times, and so that's where our charter was. If you call the mayor, he doesn't answer, you can call me. If I don't answer, then call your district representative. One of us will answer, and then probably all 3 of us will call you back at the exact same time. But I would just say, hey, if there's issue, just reach out to us, and we get back to you. I think everybody on the dais now currently would return your phone call. It could be something very simple, there's a pothole, or it could be something big. And sometimes there's no way we can see and hear everything. And so I would say just let us know, and we'll do our best to fix it.
That's good. What advice do you give others who might be interested in public service?
Don't. No, I'm kidding.
Something more positive?
It's rewarding. All jokes aside, it fits my personality. I see something that's broken and I want to change it. And I think everybody in one way or the other wants the same outcome. But I would just say, if you want to get into public service, get involved. Like I said, see if you like it. Get involved in some civic organizations. See what it's about, right? See what it is to give back. I think our community is very generous. There's so many civic organizations. They're all giving back to our community. Find what kind of makes you tick, what you're passionate about, and serve. And if you really want to get into public service, you can let me know. I'm happy to tell you all the good, bad, and the ugly. There's Leadership Wichita Falls. If you're really curious how city government works, they'll take you through the police, the fire, code, the maintenance, the sanitation. They'll take you everywhere and let you do everything. And ask questions. I don't think no question is worse than a bad question, in my opinion. And so what you don't know, you don't know. And I would say ask questions, get involved, find what makes you tick. And if public service is your calling, then by all means, go for it. And it's very rewarding, very stressful, and it's a lot of learning. And if you like to learn new things, then this is the place for you. We'd be happy to have you.
That's great. Wichita Falls has a large military community with Shepherd Air Force Base here. How can we as a community support the military families better?
Yeah, I think we actually do a really good job of supporting Shepherd. But with that being said, doesn't mean that's ever good enough, right? I always use the term, especially in business, we're either growing or we're dying. And doing it responsibly, I think, is the key, right? So it's multifaceted, right? We've got to promote economic development, whether it's a lot of these guys, Shepherd may be their last stop and they want to retire and they fell in love with Wichita Falls. They have to have a career that can translate from military career to civilian life. So we've got to have industries that support Shepherd, that will also support our servicemen and women who decide to retire in Wichita Falls. It's education. It's partnering with MSU. Currently, that's kicking off this year, kind of a joint deal with MSU and Shepherd where they can train spouses or even active personnel can continue to get an education while being at Shepherd. And then it's being proactive, right? I think we did a big trip in February of this year to Washington, D.C., where several members of council, economic development team, and then some of our business leaders went to D.C. with the strict goal of promoting SMAC, and SMAC was on that trip as well too. And so people don't know, SMAC is Shepherd Military Affairs Committee, and their sole goal is to promote and take care of Shepherd. It was started after BRAC. We went to DC, and first of all, we just said thank you, and how can we support you? And doing those proactive things, going to DC and meeting with our elected representatives and people in the military community up the chain, I guess you could say up the ladder, and saying, we love Shepherd. How can we make it better for you? How can we make it better for the airmen? And how do we expand and look forward, thinking what our military looks like in the next 15, 20 years instead of what it's going to look like tomorrow? We got to support today's mission, right? We got to look forward to the next 20-year mission, right? What's that going to be? And I think we're doing all those things, and we've got to continue to do them. I think it's got to be a full court press. There will be another BRAC. I would almost put money on it that there will be. We've got to make sure that we don't even sniff that list. And we're taking those steps to make sure that does not happen, because it's 40% of our economy. And we're a military community. We are. And so we've got to do everything we can to support Shepherd and all the service members, all their family, and then everybody that wants to retire here too, because I think it's a great place to stay forever.
Yes. The Air Force is what brought us here.
Yeah, brings a lot of people.
My last assignment in the Air Force was Shepherd Air Force Base, and we chose to stay here and build our businesses. So
Good.
So yeah, it's a good community for that.
Absolutely.
What programs do we have in place to help our military families, especially like the spouses that are seeking employment?
Yeah, we've got to do, that's one thing, I just mentioned it, they're here for 2 to 3 years, right? And so a lot of times they're bouncing jobs just because they're following their spouse all over the country, all over the world, right? So we've got to have different partnerships with our industries here, right, that have a rotating door and we're working towards that, where, hey, one person comes in and another person comes out, and having jobs that are not the low-wage jobs, right? Everyone can go get a job at a restaurant, right? And that's not what people are looking for. Those industries are key, don't get me wrong, but a lot of these spouses have degrees and they want a career too, right? And so it's creating partnerships like that with our business community where we can hire spouses of the military and supporting them. It's if they're still going to school, like the partnership with MSU, they can enroll and get classes, whether they're active or not, and they can continue their education here. And it's a real-world degree that they can take either here in Wichita Falls and have a career, or their next assignment, and it goes with them. And so it's connecting all those dots. I think we're doing a good job of promoting our city. We're doing I forget the name of it, but you probably do, but it's the civilian mentorship deal where families are adopting airmen here too, and families here too, and bringing them in their community, showing them, they match them up with a family that has like interest. Because a lot of these guys, they go to base, they go back to the apartment, or they go back to their rent house, and that's the only life they see, and they don't see Wichita Falls. So when they leave Wichita Falls, they're like, I don't really remember that place. I don't ever want to go back there. We've got to change that. We want to make Shepherd, when the military community, it's very large, but it's also small. It's like oil and gas. I feel people talk and everyone knows somebody that's been through Wichita Falls. We want that to be like, oh yeah, you want to take Wichita Falls over Alabama or North Carolina or wherever. You want to go there. You want to be in Wichita Falls. And we're taking those steps to make sure that our airmen have a great time here and that spouses have a good support system here. And I think that's really key to the overall success of Shepherd.
Yes, that is really important for all those points that you made. What makes Wichita Falls unique compared to other North Texas communities?
We're Wichita Falls. And what I mean by that is, I think do we have problems? Sure. Every city has problems, but it's that sense of community. I think Our community is everybody wants to give to a cause. Most people want to participate in a cause. I think our real sense of community. I love the no traffic stuff too, but we can grow. Traffic's not always a bad thing too. And I think what makes Wichita Falls so successful, what makes it tick, is the people. We're a big, small town. If you want to get involved, you can get involved and make a difference. That's key. You can't do that in Dallas. You just can't. And I think that's what makes us our sense of community. And I think a lot of people are born and raised here and they love it, and a lot of people move here and they fall in love with it, and there's a reason for that. And I think it's our sense of community, and it's still that small Texas town that's moving forward a little bit, slowly but surely. And we can do both things, and we can grow and change a little bit and still make Wichita Falls what makes it great. And I think overall, just the support that everybody has for one another and deeply cares about our city, passionately. Some people are very passionate, and that's a good thing. And so I think that's what makes Wichita Falls great, and what makes Wichita Falls Wichita Falls.
Yeah, that's right. How can a community preserve its identity while also embracing growth?
I think we can do both. I think it's relatively simple. And I'm going to use the mall as a speaking point here, because there's been some disagreement whether the city should buy the mall. And we agreed that it's our one opportunity to control what happens to that piece of property. And that's keeping that in mind, is controlling our identity. It's the central part of our city. It's the busiest intersection in town. It's where all the development is going commercially. And we're essentially going to be a middleman in this project. We acquired the rights to it to flip it to a developer. We had several developers interested in this project, some better than others. And so we got to pick. And so I'm very excited about that. But the reason we did that was because if this goes the whole private route, we can't control what the developer does to it. Someone could buy the mall, bulldoze it, and it could be a field, or they could make it an indoor flea market, or they could put $4 generals there. That's not what we want. That's not what we deserve as a community. We're flipping it to a developer and saying, hey, you can develop this property and put this type of retail in here, this type of commercial in here. It has to look a certain way. It has to follow these guidelines, or we're going to go on to the next developer. And that's the things you have to do to help control your identity. I think why not Wichita Falls is what always pops into my head when you talk about this development and you hear some negative comments about, oh, this will never come here. Oh, I'm telling you, it's coming. And we're very excited about it. And that's part of doing projects like this, help control our identity. We're not going to be landlords in this thing. We're not going to collect rent. Nobody wants to do that at City Hall. I don't want to be involved in that either. But you can play a middleman. You can set some ground rules where you can really control what happens. In those types of projects, we can control what it looks like, how it's going to be, and make sure that it fits our community. And something that doesn't fit our community, there's no appetite for it for me. There's no appetite really for anybody. And those are the type of things that we have to continue to do to move forward and make sure that Wichita Falls stays Wichita Falls. I don't want Wichita Falls to change, but we can grow and add new things and still keep our identity, and that's what we're focused on.
Yeah, that's great. That's great perspective. Thanks again, Austin, for being here. It was great having you on. How would listeners connect with you for more information?
Yeah, I think if you just Google my name, my phone number pops up. I have a city email. It's austin.cobb@wichitafallstx.gov. You can email me there. My phone number is 940-781-5698. I'm on there too. If you're a Facebook guy, I have a Facebook page. Message me there, or you see me in the grocery store, stop and ask me a question. I don't mind. Sometimes I may have my kids with me, so you get to hear them too. But yeah, open book, email me, call me, however you want to get a hold of me. Like I said, open door policy with me from day one. Whether we agree or don't, I'll meet with anybody, anywhere. So I'm happy to help.
All right, that's great. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us before we wrap up?
No, I think I'm good. Just exciting things are coming in Wichita Falls, and I think the end of this year, from now to the end of this year, is going to be a very exciting time. So I'm excited to get some of these projects across the finish line and continue to move forward.
All right, great. And everyone listening, hope you have enjoyed that as much as I did. Hope you picked up a few takeaways that you can use right here in Wichita Falls or wherever you are in North Texas. I appreciate you spending a little time with us today, and we'll see you next time on the Falls Homefront. That wraps up another episode of the Falls Homefront. I trust today's conversation gave you some useful insight for your real estate journey and life here in North Texas. If you enjoyed it, follow the show so you never miss an episode. And subscribe on YouTube. and share it with a friend, neighbor, or fellow North Texan who might enjoy it too. For more resources, local insights, real estate tips, and how to connect with me, head over to timlockharthomes.com. Stay tuned for more stories, strategies, and connections that help you thrive in Wichita Falls and beyond.